see where we have completed and then आगे बढ़ते हैं. जावास्क्रिप्ट में कहाँ तक कंप्लीट हो गया?
क्या यहाँ लाइव क्लास में?
नहीं, मतलब आपने कहाँ तक कर लिया कोर्स में?
कोर्स में तो जावास्क्रिप्ट खत्म हो गया.
कोर्स में जावास्क्रिप्ट हो गया. और लास्ट टॉपिक हमने कौन सा पढ़ा था?
लास्ट में
आई गेस इवेंट प्रोपगेशन पढ़ रहे थे लास्ट में. हमने बबलिंग और वो पढ़ी थी लास्ट क्लास. बबलिंग, कैप्चरिंग एंड लाइक.
हाँ
ऑलराइट, ठीक है. से स्टार्ट करते हैं. मैं एक बार मैं ग्रुप में मैसेज ड्रॉप कर देता हूँ, देन वी कैन स्टार्ट. ऑल राइट, आई गेस जस्ट अ सेकेंड स्क्रीन शेयर करते हैं. All right. So, okay. So in the last session, we completed the event propagation thing. So event propagation के बारे में हमने ये पढ़ा, and we said that कि if there is nested on clicks या फिर nested listeners है, तो we saw that event propagates from the child to parents and till the top. So this happens till the top, like HTML window. It means window, body, all these have event listeners. So yes, window and all these have event listeners. Okay, so that is the scene. Uh, Moving on, we'll see like some of the more use cases. Okay, what are the other use cases of event things? And we have already covered till now the mouse events, keyboard events. We have already covered. Okay, so just a quick recap of the event thing, and then we are good to go to something deep in JavaScript. For example, scopes. We'll do a quick revision of scopes. We'll talk about single thread, multi-thread, and global variables. All right, guys. Just a second. I will share my screen. I guess it's already shared though. Okay. If not, I will just share it. Okay. So we said that key if there are nested on clicks and any kind of nested event, so we will see that it is being there. Acha. So we discussed about so this was the on click structure, and you basically see that we have a function stop propagation. Okay, so stop propagation handler, and so why did we use event stop propagation? What was the reason? So why do you use stop propagation method? So basically, uh, in order to stop propagation, for example, whenever I click this nested button, so it is supposed to trigger this. So let's say if I am using any third party packages or everything, so I need to make sure that if my element is a parent element and the child element both have on clicks, so I need to make sure that do not we do not trigger both the on clicks, because that will be very hard to debug. Hard to debug means we need to go through all the code. So that is why stop propagation handlers come into like come for like helps come in handy. So how do we stop the propagation? So whatever event we get, we just run a method stop a propagation on that, and it will stop the propagation. This is one thing. Also, the one more problem we solved using this propagation is, so we solved a problem. The problem was, considering there are lots of need of selector, sorry, event listeners. For example, let's say there is a data sensitive website. For example, we are maintaining as Excel sheet. So Google Excel, like Google Sheets is an example. Every time we enter a data, so save function runs. It means that it is listening which cell is being used, or which listen like which cell to be targeted. So the One way was to put on clicks on all of them, but the problem was there were, let's say there are 10,000 cells. So what to do? So put 10,000 cells. So instead of that, we followed this. Okay. And how do we know that? How do we know the current which element was clicked with help of event? How do you know that? If I have the event object, how can I know which element was clicked? Guys, remember the target property? Target. Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah. So event dot target will give the exact target which was clicked. Now we do not need to worry about which cell was clicked in the table. We will basically be getting the event dot target and we can just see that. So event dot target is here and we can print in the values and all those things. So this is one thing. And so we on the body loaded, so on body load complete we need to pass the function. So if you want to do something, let's say when the page loaded you want to show an alert, or let's say you want the user to log in id and password, so you can do that on onload listener. So onload listener will be for the help. So here is something which is also the capturing. So what was capturing? So guys, capturing. So bubbling means from the child, the event is bubbling to the parent. For example, this is the nested diff, and it is going to the inner diff, then the outer diff, then to body and back. What was capturing? Capturing was just the opposite one. Now, just a quick recap. Okay, so because it's a like obviously it's a concept we need to remember. So where was it? So and I have also already shared this javascript.info. If you want to revise in very minimal time possible, this site will help you a lot. Okay, so I always try to like just revise from the site, and it like it is to the point, everything is written and over. All right, so for the propagation thing we needed to head to this browser, and I can see this. Yeah, so capturing. Now just a diagram is enough. So if you see this diagram, what it is saying, when the event takes place, let's say this td is being clicked. So this is how capturing works. So it will reach to the element, to the target. So this is the first phase. Capturing is the first phase, target is the second phase, and bubbling is the third phase. So bubbling, which is by default working, is the third phase. It's not the first or second phase. First or second phase is the second phase is the target phase. First phase is the capture phase. So when I say capture true, just a second guys. Okay. So when I say capture true in my event listener, so basically I'm telling my event listener to, this is the event listener. So if I do not write anything, it is by default bubbling. If I say capture, it means it will also capture the event before they happen, like before it reach to the target phase. So and I have added on the load of body. So this body on load has been added. So any event occurs, it will capture. So that was the point of bubbling, capturing, and the target phase. So these were the three things in the last session we saw. Okay, so capturing and bubbling phase. Capturing is not mostly used, so most of the time bubbling is used. And how to stop bubbling? So event dot stop propagation. Okay, so this is the thing we have used. Now this brings us to the end of the event part. Okay, we learned about mouse over, mouse out, key press, key down was there. Okay, so key press was there, key down was there, key up was there. What is the difference between key down and key press? Why do we have two of them? So दो क्यों है? Why do we have down and press? Guys, remember the difference? Okay, just a quick hint. So key press only registers some keys. It will not show all the keys. Okay. So if I press control, no action. If I say backspace, no actions, and shift and in सब पे actions नहीं होंगे. Whereas I say key down, so it will detect every key on the keyboard. Okay. Is the point clear, guys?
Yes.
Okay. And like you can try it out. Event dot key code will give the exact code of the which key was clicked. So that is the one thing. Moving on. Okay, so for the strict mode, we'll talk about it. Okay, so we'll talk about the strict mode and how things work in a strict mode. So that is a separate discussion. So we'll talk about that. Moving on, this brings us to something again which we are going to see, which is scope. So just a quick question, guys. What is the scope of var? What is the scope of var? It has
Global.
global, yes, and other one function, right? Okay.
Yeah.
So there are two of them. So global is there and the function one is there. Okay. Talking about let. Let. What is the scope of let? Uh, do you guys remember the lexical scope? Okay. Lexical scope. Let me show you something. So just a quick revision of lexical scope. If you guys remember, when we say this, if true. So if true. So here is if true. Okay. And will give two variables. So let a is equals to let var one equals to, okay. So let var equals to 10 and var two. So one is a let variable and other is a const variable which is 20. Okay. Now let's see this. So the second line will be, okay. Second line will be console log. Okay, console log. Let's print var two. Just a second, guys. Let's print var two, and let's print var one. So answer me, guys. What will be printed in var two and what will be printed in var one?
Where one will give an error.
Okay, let's see this. So var one is giving an error and var two is working totally fine. So what is the scope of let?
Lexical.
Yes,
Block scope.
lexical scope, block scope, lexical scope. Okay, so
Yeah.
those are the interchangeable terms. And you see this block in function also. So by default, function is also covered. Okay, so you
Yeah.
do not need to mention it explicitly. And what are the other things covered? Uh, for loop. Okay,
Yeah. For loop.
for loop is covered and blocks are covered, so you can create explicit blocks also. You see this is a block, okay, and it works totally fine, like there's no issues at all. So you can write in something inside it, so you can say console dot log and try to print it something, so printing, okay, so something. So this is also perfectly fine, okay. You see this block, nothing if else, no other thing is there, but yeah, it will work totally fine, okay. Let const carry the block scope or the lexical scope, whereas var will carry the global scope and global scope and
Function scope.
yes. So this is the thing. Just a quick one. So should I write a scope or what? Okay, let's write scopes dot html. Okay, so this is a thing we already know beforehand. Okay, and that is going to help us in the further topics. Now the next thing is, so the next is what happens when we type an address and hit enter. Okay, so we'll study this in networking. Do it later. Okay, so we'll study when we reach the client server architecture. So we'll talk about that. Next point is single thread, multi thread. So single threading means, what do I mean by single thread?
And it executes one process at a time. Something like
Yes.
that.
So only single operation at a time. For example, so what can be, okay? I'm saying that JavaScript learn. Sorry. JavaScript executes. Okay, JavaScript execute a file line by line. Okay, and I'm saying that only one process is, it is single threaded. So if it runs line by line, it obviously means single threaded, but this is not the case. Let me show you a conflict. So here is the conflict. I will write in a script. I will write two things. Okay. So here's a for loop, and this for loop is supposed to run for this much. Okay, so by default, 1 second will take, um, let's say, 1 second will take, in 1 second, it will be 10 to the power 7. So in Java, I guess it's 10 to the power 7 iteration, right? In a second. Uh, so something around here also, okay, not much of the difference. But here's the point. I have a for loop and I also have, let's say, set timeout. We'll cover this in detail later, but why I have written single thread, let's see this. So let's say that I have a set timeout, okay, and the set timeout is console.log. Okay, so by default, if I don't supply 0, it will be 0. So timed out, let's say timed out, and the wait is 0 milliseconds. Okay, no wait. So zero delays, zero. We call it zero delay set timeout. Okay, the point is, this is set timeout with zero delay, and I want to write a condition. So if I equals this number, the bigger number. Okay, so console.log, just a quick thing, and loop done. So what should be printed on console, guys? Timed out and loop done, right?
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. So copy path, and because this is very high, so 10 to power 7 is 1 second, so it will definitely take 100 seconds or so. Like, I'm not sure, but yeah, let's see this. Okay, guys, I guess I need to decrease my zero, otherwise my browser will hang. Okay, just a second, guys. I do not want infinite. You guys saw that?
Yeah.
Okay, okay, let me decrease zeros and try. Okay, what? Um, okay, so uh, one. So so that is why you guys were getting time limit exceed in Java. This is the reason. So if they do not throw time limit exceed, like, server will be blocked, just like the page is blocked. This is too much. This should run. This is less now. Hmm. What is the issue? This should run. Okay. Copy path. Is it in the memory still running? So that can be one thing. Yeah, I guess it's running still in the memory. Just a second, guys. Okay. It will ask me to save it. Anyways, let me comment and try. Otherwise, I need to restart my browser. Not a good idea. Just a second. Okay. Let me try another file. So, our other files loaded. Guys, I will just rejoin in a minute. Okay. Okay, all right, guys. Sorry, I had to close my browser because that was an kind of infinite loop. It was not an infinite loop, but yeah, like, I hope you guys are getting the point. Just a second. Let me try it again. So I have commented this part out, and I hope the cache is cleared. I do not need to restart my system because that would be like more time taking. Just a second. Okay, now it's good. Uh, okay, so the point is, let me have a smaller one. So now I'm trying to have a smaller loop. Okay, so for a smaller loop, let's say this will be working totally fine. Right. So one thing is for sure, this is going to take lots amount of time. So basically, 10 power 6. Okay, this is good. This will work. Not throw an error. So that is why you guys were getting time limit exceed, and we saw. Okay. So it's saying timed out and it's saying I is not defined because I where is I? So index. Okay. So index. And let me put where. So where index is there and index is not. So just quickly clearing it. Okay. So it's saying loop done and timed out. So the point is we expected that timed out would print first and loop done afterwards. Okay, but it's just the opposite. Okay, there's a reason behind it. When JavaScript sees set timeout, it knows that this function has to wait before running. Okay, so JavaScript decides to run to the next line, and when it goes to the next line, so this is a simple for loop. So it says you run first. That is why, and since it's single threaded, it cannot do both the things. So suppose that half of the loop is completed and set time is done. So here's a conflict. What to run? Either to run the for loop or to print the set timeout. So what to do? So just JavaScript says, let's do one thing. The function which does not have to wait will go first. So even though the loop will take, let's say, 1 second, 2 second, it will be printed before set timeout because JavaScript is single threaded. Make sense, guys? Okay, we'll study in detail. But set timeout or any network request. For example, network request. You are making a network request. So network request, you do not know it will be resolved in 2 seconds, 3 seconds. So JavaScript does not wait for that request. Okay, so that is the thing. Uh, Aziz, you want to say something?
No, no, sorry, sorry. My microphone got.
Oh, okay. So this is the thing. So single threaded means only one function will run at a time. Okay, let me open the doc. Okay. All right. Okay, so we'll study about how things are managed on the JavaScript end later. But yeah, avoiding global variables. What do I mean by avoiding global variables? See this, guys. So I have this global variable. Let's say that there are two JavaScript files. I will say script one dot JavaScript. Okay, and I have a variable um, where value one. Okay, so value. Let's say value. Okay, and this is 30. This is your JavaScript file, okay, and we try to use a third party library. Let's say the name is script. It's a third party library and I want to use it. So let's see this also. Okay, so the purpose is why we should be avoiding global variables. Global variable means variables with global scope. So where is a perfect example for that? So I'm saying that why to avoid global variables. So see this, guys. To script file, it can come from any source. You can create it or you use from any third party library. For example, Bootstrap we have already used, jQuery is used. Okay, so we already use these things. So let's say that there's a var value 34 in one script and there's a var value 30 in another script. And what we did is we used both the scripts inside our file. Yeah, we can have more than one script, so that is totally fine. Okay, so no issues at all. Why is it not autocomplete? Okay, anyways, doesn't matter. So source, let me supply the source. So source will be basically the script. Okay, basically the script one.js and copy paste. Okay, so this is script one and second one is script two. So two script loaded, both have something as value 30 and value 34. Okay, what do you guys think would be the output of this console.log value? What should be the output of value? Or value will be an error.
Error plus because there are two values defined, right?
Okay, so we have two values defined, and answer is one answer is it should be array. Any other answers, guys? What do you guys think?
I guess 34 will come.
Okay, let's see that also. So quickly clear it, paste, and so yes, 34 is coming. There is one thing. The issue is, first of all, how did we get value? So we already loaded both the scripts, and both script already have this value defined. So not defined will not be the case here. But yeah, my point I want to make here is, suppose the same thing happen if you use packages and things do not work as expected. You wanted this value 30, but you got this value 34, and that too without any error. So there's an issue, right? How do you know if you have your own file? Okay, if you have a single file, so you know what variable you have named, but you are using a third party packages. How do you come to know like what are the variables inside that package? Are you guys getting the problem here?
Yeah.
Okay, since var will not throw an error, because right, and as many value variables you want, because var allows reinitialization, right? That is why we learned about three ways to initialize a variable: var, let, and const. So the question would be, कि if we already had var, why do we need let and const? So this is the first reason why you need a let and const. Are you guys getting the point?
Yes.
Now, the problem can be easily solved with let. Okay, the problem can be easily solved with let. So you can say that let value equals to 30, and what should be the output now? I have changed var with let. So, Aziz, what do you think?
We have given let no, so it won't take uh, 30. Okay.
Yes. See, let does not allow reinitialization, right? That
Yeah.
is why it will throw an error. See this, guys. There's a one thing you need to see. Error occurred, but after that, value also printed. Value got printed. So, does this justify JavaScript runs line by line? Okay. So, only line which is having error will be throwing error. Rest code will run perfectly fine. See this is an example. So error is also there, output is also there, because this 30 is at line number 23. It means that 30 is at line number 23. So this is line number 23. So 30 is, this is working perfectly fine. This gave error because it is saying that we already have an value added, so it cannot be the same thing. This is the one thing. Now, the same issue with the functions also. So let me show you something. So this is the value issue. So like we already know now why you should be avoiding var and why you should be using let. So that's explain the heading, avoiding global variables. Okay. Next thing, I have a function. So this function is basically function add in over here, and this function is basically console.log, and let's say that. 45 something is printed. Okay, it doesn't matter, but because the point is, let's see what the point is. So I'm okay, where did it go? So this is the point I'm going to make is, I have the function over there and I have the same name function over here, and I want to add So something is there, and I want to print 46. So 45, 46, and I call the, instead of calling the value, I'm calling the add function. So what should be printed, guys? Or it should be an error. What should be printed? So 45 is here, 46 is here, and we have called. Let's see the issue here. It is printing 40,
Six.
46 is being printed. Okay, so this is printing. What's why it is giving undefined? Oh, because variable return type is undefined. Okay, that is why. But the point is, 46 is being printed. The same issue we had with the var, right? Are you guys getting the point? Okay. So what is the solution for function?
Function expression.
Correct. Very correct. So instead of having these functions, have function expression and do not use var. Okay, that is the first point. And the second point is do not use var. So let add is equals to function, solve the problem. That's it. The same thing, I will throw an error when it comes over here, and things will be 45 this time. Okay. So we already know the answers, but we are just asking questions now. Okay, so this is what we are doing. So we already know about the answers, we are just asking questions. Why to avoid global variables? So these are the reasons. There comes some time like there is a function you want to run, okay, at the time of loading, and at the time of loading you want to run that, or any script you want to run when the page gets loaded. Okay, so something, these kind of tasks you want to complete. So we have a solution for that. We have a solution for that. If I want to run something at the function load or the page load, I can simply do something like this. See this, guys. What we call this? This is the optimal solution. I do not have a. It is an anonymous function, but my point is, I can have functions like this if I want to load it or run it at the beginning. So it doesn't matter if it has the same name or not. So 46 in here and 45 in here. So both of them are having same functions, but the syntax is bit changed. Syntax is changed. I do not need to call add function. So I'm talking about if I'm um, having a functions which I need to run at the loading stage. So you see this. This structure I have wrapped in like in a small bracket. This we call as IFI. What is IFI? Immediately invoked function expression. Okay, so immediately invoked function expression. So immediately invoked means that just invoking it immediately. So if you want to run a script at the page load and you do not want to change the variable names, you can just avoid this by wrapping it inside a IFI. So this is how we write it. So there's other ways to write IFI. If correctly remember, so we do something like this also. So you can do both the things. So either write the function, call it inside, otherwise call it outside. So let's see if it is working or not. So 45, 46, both should be printed this time. Okay, and we do not need to call it anyways. The two ways to read about IFI. So this is the thing we are having. Uh, all it is. Similarly, we just read about something called as block. Let's see the block solves the same problem. For example, let uh, value, okay, so let value is equals to, let's say, 78, okay, and the console. So console.log and value, even in the same file also, okay, even in the same file. They can have same file, same blocks. Otherwise, you can choose different files also. That works perfectly fine. So these are the two things we have. So we can have this as 80, okay, and this will do our job perfectly. So 80 should be printed over here and 78 to be. So either you go with FE or you choose the block things. So this is how we solve the issues. So avoiding global variables and immediately invoked function expression. How to ways to create IFE. So how do we create a IFE? I've already attached a link over here. You can go through it. Any doubts still here, guys?
No.
All right. Let const where we have done block using block and solving the same variable problem. So we have done this one. All right. So since next thing, which is very very important as per interview point of view, and like you can say that it's a kind of topic which is like uh, related to deep what do you say deep Javas. Okay. The point is closes. I want to show you something. So see this guys. Let me create a new file. So closes.html. Here's the key. So function, let's call it outer. So why I'm calling it outer. Let's see this. So we'll just go through. We'll just give a recap whatever we studied. We already know that in a function I already have. So in a function I have nested functions supported inside JavaScript. Nested function is just an example. So function inner and say that let var 2 which takes 40 and consoling here and there. So console, let's say val1, okay, plus of val2. So this is what we have. In order to run the inner function, so inside the function we can call it, okay. But if I want to run this inner function outside, so how can I do it? If I want to run uh, inner function, so how can I run it outside the outer? What are the ways?
Giving two brackets.
Okay,
Guessing it, I don't know.
okay. See this case. So can I just return it?
Yeah, okay.
Okay, so I can return it, and I can say that let inner function. So inner function, okay, inner function is equals to outer, and make call to outer. So what will outer call give me?
In a function.
Yes, and now so now I can either I use that double brackets, okay, that will also work. Otherwise, I can call the inner function also. So that is the point. I have to say something. So the thing is, see this guys, inner function I will make the call. Okay. Here is the point I want to ask you guys. When a function is in running state or pending state means recursions. Okay, recursion means lower calls wait for the upper call to return in recursion. When you hit the base case, so that is the C. So yeah, so function can be in either in running state, currently running, or it can be in pending state. Pending state means it is inside the stack, but waiting for the calls to complete. Here's the key: when the function is completed, it pops out of the stack, right?
Yes.
And it will be popped with its local variable also.
Yes.
All right. It means that at line number 27, I have called outer function,
Yeah.
and since outer function has a local value val1, so it should be popped out of stack.
Mm,
Okay.
yeah.
And if I call line number 29, so I'm printing val1 and val2. So val1 should give error because it's popped out.
Yeah, it should.
Let's see. So here is JavaScript brings closer. Okay. So okay, val2 is not defined. This was very unexpected. Oh, it is where. Let me close this. See this, guys. This is working perfectly fine. Like it is not saying that val1 is not defined. Although at line number 27, outer call is done, so all local variables should be exited from the memory, or sorry, the stack. But seems like something this inner function is able to access at line number 29 also. So one thing is for sure, val1 is still preserved. That's the first point. That is for sure. To make it more what you can say, to make it more concrete, see this, guys. I will increase the, so I will not print it, I will also increase it. Let's see this. I will increase it. Okay. And I will call inner function 3 times. What should be the output? The first output was
Every
34.
time it will increase 34, 40, 35, 40,
Mm-hmm.
36, 40.
36 40. But as per we know from other languages and all, local variables are destroyed, right? Are you guys getting this point that local variable do not exist?
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah. Obviously, why will they exist? Because there's a bad optimization. You should pop up. It should be garbage collected. But something is not matching up here. It is not only preserving it. It is not only printing. It is increasing the value also. This is something. What you can say, like something which is not matching up. So here is the key, guys. You see this nested functions.
yeah.
What JavaScript does is it preserves the scope of the function. And we have already seen this point. I'll just take you to the point. If you remember the execution context, there are three things: functions, variable, and environment. This keyword, and what is the third one? Reference
Reference to
to.
outer execution context.
Yes. So reference to outer execution context. What is the outer context of inner function?
Outer function. Val
Yes.
one.
Correct. Very correct. Val1 is there in outer context, and that is being saved, guys. So this thing we already saw, but yeah, it's time we study what do we mean by reference to outer execution context. And since reference to outer execution context has to be there, it is always there till the runtime. It is always there. That is why 20 at line number 20, every time we increase the value, it is increasing it. It is increasing it because it has the reference to outer. Everything inside JavaScript. Guys, do you remember I already told that function is also an object?
Yeah.
Okay. It is a special kind of object. It's a callable object basically. Everything you write here now, val1 or inner, it becomes the property of this outer function. Okay, let me show you something. So objects has dot property on it. So let me print something. So outer dot, I can print the outer dot name. And what do we get in outer dot name? What will be the output? Name of function. Okay. Outer dot name will throw me the name of the function. So the name of function is outer. So it is the same thing. Okay. So name property is there in function. So who has properties?
Objects have properties.
It says outer dot. Okay, sorry. It's a property. Sorry, it's not a function. It's a property. Objects has property. Very correct. See this, object has property. It means it is object. It is object. So, although we have, it's a callable object. That is for sure. But here's the point. Now, so closures. So what do we mean by closures? So closures is uh, applied on all the functions inside JavaScript. And whenever someone asks about closure, what is closure? So it's the function plus the lexical environment in which it was created. A single line definition. What is closure? So closures. So every function is closure inside JavaScript, and it preserves the lexical environment in which it was created. One short definition, no confusions here. So preserving the scopes means closure. So this is what we are now. That is why we are getting this out. Here's the other thing. Okay, every time a function is called, now tell me guys, what should be printed? Inner function to. I'm making call to outer again. Okay, and I'm making call to inner function 2. So this time I will change the call. Okay, this time I'll change the call to inner function 2. Okay. So what do you think should be output at line number 36?
3740.
3740. Okay. How many of you say that there's some changes? Any other answers? All of you agree with 3740?
Yeah, 3740.
Okay. Guys, just one more chance to you. Line number 34, what do we?
34. Okay.
Yes. And why is that?
Oh yeah, it gets 34 because it's changed, right? I mean, like inner function 2, it doesn't remember what inner function 1 has. I mean, inner function has. This is completely new environment it creates, I think.
Yes. See line number 34, guys. Line number 34 is a separate call to outer, means a separate execution context. Are you guys getting the point?
Yeah. Okay.
So there are two contexts in over here. Okay. So that is 3540. So not 3440. Okay, sorry. Yeah, don't go by the values. Okay. But the point is, so every time you call a function, so every time new execution context is created. Okay. That is the point in over here. And I guess I do not need to explain for the global variables, because so if I have something, so now you guys already know this thing also. No explanation needed. For what? Let's see. So val 3 is equal to 67, and if I say val 3 plus plus, okay. So and I also print it. So plus val 3. Sorry, val 3. Okay. So this will also work perfectly fine. So the same thing will be followed, guys. Preserving of scope.
Yeah, because it's in global, right?
Yes, and global is always loaded into the stack. So global, it is always there until the runtime. It will be there. If global will be out, it means the page is out, right?
Yeah.
All right, guys. So this is the thing. Now a quick diagram for you guys. Okay, let's see this. So just for a visual representation, closures, and I am saying that please go through the site. This is super amazing. Go with the MDN, okay, but I don't know, like some preference to this one. Where is it? JavaScript.info. Tag it, do whatever you want. Just read this. Super amazing. All right. Where is functions? Functions. Okay. And here's functions, and here's closures. Okay, how to so this thing we have already covered, so if you want you can just go through it again, but yeah, everything has been covered. Here comes the point. Okay, Okay, where is that diagram? Where is the diagram? Okay, so phrase. Okay, see this, guys. When you write a variable now, phrase equals to hello. So there's a simple variable phrase equals to hello and alert phrase is there. So in the lexical environment, it get converted into a key value pair. Make sense, guys?
Yeah.
Okay. So this lexical environment is also a object. Okay.
Yeah. Object. Okay.
Okay, and it is, so its outer context is null because this is the global context. Global context. So what is the context after global context? No context. Okay, so global is the highest level of context, right? So I have written not for global context here, so reference to outer exclusion, not for global context. Global context is the highest context, so nothing is after that. I want to show you something. Hoisting, so we already saw hoisting, right?
Yeah.
Everything is hoisted. Everything is hoisted, let const where everything is hoisted. But this scene happens. See this. When you write let phrase now, these are the three line of code you have written. Let phrase equals to hello, phrase equals to bye. When the execution starts now, this is what it is happening. So phrase comes here but uninitialized. That is why you get an error. Cannot use variable before it is
Defined. Defined.
initialized, right?
Initialized.
Yes. So this is the scene happens. Hoisting will take this phrase to one level up, but it will keep it uninitialized. But with where it will not be uninitialized. Where will be here?
Undefined.
Yes. Where is not uninitialized. It values is stored as undefined. That is why where does not give an error. And that is the reason. So you see, when you reach this where phrase, so phase undefined, so this step does not exist for this exists but it is undefined. Okay, and this is the thing. So when you change a variable, so you are basically changing the um, value of the property. Make sense? uh, okay, so the complete everything inside here is the object, everything. So just see everything as a property and method, and things will be pretty much clear. And function, so this is variable, okay, but the variable goes up but function declaration completely goes up. The complete function goes up. That is why function does not give an error. Okay, it runs perfectly fine in hosting. Do you guys remember this?
Only the function declaration, right?
Yeah, the normal functions work perfectly fine in hosting. You know
Function
that.
expression and arrow function.
So when you say function expression, you are storing that function into a,
Variable.
yes, and variable will be,
Hoisted.
but it will be,
Undefined.
yes. Where will be undefined and others will be,
Uninitialized.
yes. So those will not run.
Okay.
Make sense?
Yeah.
Okay, so this is the thing, guys. So closers will basically do this, and like, yeah, just have a look. So I hope you guys are getting it. Now the point is closers and let. So they have, so why close, okay, so why did I write this over here? So closers and let, maybe related to scope. Okay, see this, guys. So yeah, I remember. See this. I want to say for loop. So this is a normal for loop. Here's let. Okay, I want to change it to where. So where, let's change let to where, and let's change this to 5, and remove this, put a console.log, and print index every time, and that's it. Simple follow, but with a slight modification. So set timeout I want to use. Set timeout. Guys, you saw now set timeout is running after the normal functions. Uh,
Yeah.
okay,
Yes.
to preserve the single threaded thing, because JavaScript sees set timeout. It says, hey, what happens if you complete and I'm running a function? So JavaScript says, let's do one thing. I will run on the functions, then you will come, because I'm single threaded. I cannot run two things at once. Okay, so JavaScript says, okay, like you just wait. Okay, that is why here is the so the time you supply here is not the exact time. This is the minimum time to it. Make sense? This is the minimum time, because JavaScript may be busy with any other operations. So this is the minimum time it will wait. Okay, this is not the exact time. This we call it threshold time. Okay, all right. So every time loop is running from 0 to 5, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Okay, tell me the output, guys. The output, guys, it's a normal console log. What should the output? Okay, let me add a delay. What should the output? 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. Right? It's just a console log.
Yeah,
Yeah,
Okay.
might be.
Okay. Okay, it's JavaScript, right? So
Yeah,
no commitments. Okay, see this. So it's printing five times. Okay. So none of the answer matches. So it was a multiple choice question and all of the options are wrong. So it's printing five times. How many of you know the answer? Why it is printing five five times? Set timeout has nothing to do with this.
is voice thing coming in picture?
where
Where? Okay. So let me replace with let and then check it out. Yes, let is solving the problem here. But didn't understand like why did this happen? Why let is solving the problem?
Maybe there's a delay, that's why we are getting five,
Um.
five, five.
Okay. What is for? Which kind of scope it is?
Block scope.
Yes. And where follows block scope?
No.
Yes. So till the delay completes, loop has been executed completely,
Okay, yeah.
and when loop will break,
When index reaches five.
and we know that set timeout is being stopped by JavaScript as per the mechanism to avoid to keep it single threaded. Okay, so there's no deadlock. So deadlock situation is never in single threading. It is in multi-threading. Deadlock means two functions are waiting for the resource, same resource, right? So
Yeah.
that is not the case in single threading because there is only one operation, so it's totally fine. But my point is, let's come back here. So the point is, when I say where now, so it is JavaScript is totally clear that for loop will run first and set amount will come later. So loop gets completed and it breaks at index 5, and then our set timeout runs, and set timeout gets index as
Five.
yes. And how many set timeouts are there? Five set timeouts, right? 0 to 0 to 4. So all five set timeout print same value, which is
Yeah.
5. Whereas delay is in case of let also, but let is a
Block scope.
yes. So it will create separate copy of index every time set timeout runs. So every time a separate copy of I is created. Whereas in where there is a single copy. So this is how let us solving the problem. Okay, and since due to closure, so set timeout is following closure also. So closure means so this is one scoping, and this function is inside a closure. So set timeout is inside a block itself. So it checks the reference to outer variable, and it finds out that there is a single variable in case of where, whereas there are multiple cases, multiple variables, multiple execution context created for let. So multiple execution context are created for let. Okay, just a quick diagram so that it is clear. Okay, so in case of the for loop, so I'm drawing with my fingers. Okay, so just it won't be perfect, but yeah, let's see this. So when you say var, na, so you are doing something like this. So this is var. Okay, the execution context is created for loop, and var has a variable I or variable index. Okay, but the point is, since I is a global variable, there's a single copy created for I. Okay, there's a single copy created for I, and this arrow function, this arrow function, so five arrow functions are there in five different set timeout. Okay, so five different arrow functions. So one, two, three. This is the arrow function. This is the arrow functions, and this is the arrow function. All these arrow function refer to the same I because it's a global variable. Make sense, guys? So I has nothing to like where has nothing to do with for loop. Guys, all of you are getting this point now. Since where is does not follow a block scope, you write where in for loop or write outside for loop. It does not matter, right, guys?
Yes.
Okay. How does it matter? So you can access where outside also. You saw that expression. If true is equals to, you write something and you access where. So either you write where in outer of that block or in right inside that block. How does it matter anyways? Okay. So this thing is as good as writing this. So either you write this or you write this. It doesn't matter. Both are the same thing. Okay. But things changes when you say let index. So this is this, and you see things are getting giving errors. So you see, so this index and this index are different. Is it clear, guys? This index is global. This index is
Yeah, it's clear. That
block.
is global block.
Yes, yes, that is a global variable, and this is a block one. And when I say var, na, see, it will throw error because my compiler knows why it is giving error.
There is a global. So
Where is global? So either you write it here or you write outside, it's the same thing. And let will not allow.
yeah, reinitialization.
Yes, let will not allow this reinitialization. You say like you cannot do this. See, let is being conserved inside for, so it will be good. It will not. It cannot see outside. Since it cannot see outside, so every time this function was called, every time this function was called, a new this you see this for loop. So every time this for loop created a new context, new execution context of this loop was created with separate eyes. With separate eyes, we had this complete function. Okay, so here was the I. Here also we had I, and similarly for all of them. So I was 1 over here, sorry, 0 over here, and something 1 2. So you guys are getting the point. Okay, and every time the arrow function was pointing to them. It's because every call is a different call. So this is what it is happening. Just a quick thing for you guys so that it becomes more clear. Uh, um, ES6 to ES5 conversion. So this is a React code I converted to JavaScript, but I do not need this React. Uh, okay, I need this. Let. So this is also the ES5. I want. So what should I select? What should I select? So okay, lookup fixes, assumptions, plugin. Hmm. Okay, this is not React. Please, just a second, guys. I want you to see. I can't go back. Not ES6 to ES5. It is ES6 to. Yeah. So I've written this, and this is Babel 6 preset. Let's see. Okay, yeah, it's here, guys. So this let is something like this, guys. Okay, see this. So it is saying that where index. So this is the scenario when older times let was not introduced. Okay, what is happening? Every time there is a new function. So there is a new function in all created. Okay, so there's a new function created and with underscore loop, and every time I'm supplying a new value to this one. Whereas when I convert this var, okay, let's transform this to where is var, so no changes at all. But let us handle something like this, and this will solve the problem because where, so where, so it's a new function, and um, where is a where is having a function scope. Make sense, guys?
Yes.
Yeah.
So this index will be pointing to the correct value which we have. So this is how it works. So every time a new execution context will be created. Okay, so new execution context means every time the loop will be called. So see this, guys.
When
See,
we use let, right?
yeah, when we use let, so let is converted to this internally. Okay, so this is what it is happening. So how is let solving the problem? So see, every time underscore loop is a new function. So every time a new context is created. So older index is out. Okay. Every time it is pointing to the newer index. We just saw this in closures also, right? Just we called outer function twice, right? Uh, guys.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So we called outer function twice and it was resetting it. So every time it is doing the same thing. Okay, so this index in over here, so this index it becomes a, so this index the parameter. See, I do not have an index variable over here. So the question should be, the next question should be, sir, we do not have an variable here. So how it like how is closure how can I define closure here? So this parameter is also a local variable. Make sense? Parameters are local variable, right? You can access only inside the functions, right?
Index, right?
Yeah, index.
Yeah, it's a local variable.
Yeah, so obviously, like any parameter is a local variable. You cannot access only inside it. You cannot access outside it. That is for sure in all the languages. Okay.
Hmm.
So this index becomes the property of underscore loop five times. Five times. So every time there is a new closure, okay, to this nested function. So this index will be taken from this function call, not from the for loop. Because if it takes from the for loop, it will be printing five times. Now it will not print five times. I can write something you guys want. So console.log me write console.log index. Okay, let's run this. So run it. So 0, 1, 2. Okay, so it is doing the same thing. Let me, how can I replicate it? So let me put it here. But yeah, like I guess you guys already got the point. Okay, it's the same thing. And when I use where, it is the same function. See, so you see this index. How many execution contexts are here? Only
Only one.
yes. There is a single function, and there is no functions. There is only global context, and index is shared from the global context. That this is the diagram which I saw. So this five function you see now, so that is the five loop functions it is showing us. Five times the function loop is created.
Yeah, the underscore loop. Oh.
Yes, this is the five execution context. All right, guys. So this is what we have. Okay, we'll cover things. Okay, and just have a quick revision of it. Okay. So probably next class will be talking about pro drives. Okay. So these topics are like what I can say, interviewers' favorite topic. Like they like these topics a lot because these topics have lots of questions and lots of concept inside it, and there is high chances like to get us. But yeah, now we are smart enough to answer it.
So, just a quick question. So we're learning these languages for like first time, right?
Hmm.
So, what will be the interviewer's expectation like? Since we are already 2 years experienced in the IT profile, so how are they gonna ask the questions like the immediate range or normal or
So basically, like whatever I have in the sheet, I can tell that that is more than enough. I already gave interview in 15 to 16 companies. I've been interviewed already, and whatever I found in the interviews, that is totally mentioned over there. The only thing required for you guys is just to like retain whatever we are doing in the sessions, and that is I'm sure like there's no like, mostly sure 90 to 95% sure that it is fine. And if the user sorry, if the interviewer is coming to like with the mood that he's going to select, so the questions will not be out of that because that is more than enough, more than enough. I have included lectures also, I have included interviews also, I have included whatever I found to be what do you say, relevant. I have added everything over there. That is more than enough to crack interviews. Okay, just make sure that we need to be on the same page, like whatever I'm trying to explain, like everything is being clear. That will be the only thing required.
okay? So we are having a little hands-on experience here, right? So after getting job, we'll just be going into some project, right?
Yes.
And completely there will be like complete professionals.
Mm-hmm.
We are like just starters. So how it's gonna that's
Yeah, I get the concern, and I was complete fresher, so I didn't know about stand-ups also. That is one like that is the thing. Like first 3 months is like they know, like they understand. So if when you go for interview, so you already that's for the background, so they already know like what should be the training, and it would be easier for you guys because you guys are already professionals. So at least you know the team setup and all those things, so you do not have to put your mind there. The only thing you need to know is who is the project lead and who is managing the project. That's it. That person is going to guide you for everything. And yeah, it will be good. Don't worry. We are covering lots of things, and the things I'm not saying that people don't read or learn, but the things we are covering is more than enough. You can test it out when you go in a company. Just kidding.
okay. Thank you.
Yep. All right, guys. Thank you so much. Let's meet in the next one, which is tomorrow. Bye.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Okay, bye.
Thank you, sir.
Bye.